Welcome back to Kind of Connection. I'm Jason Gray, and I'm sitting down today with Chris Prager from the Campbell County Fire Department. And we're going to talk about carbon monoxide safety this month.
Correct. Especially with it getting into the cold months, furnaces being used, fuel-fired appliances like wood stoves, pellet stoves. You're looking at, water heaters, gas water heaters, and things like that. They all produce some level of carbon monoxide. It's a byproduct after it burns through natural gas, propane, or even wood. It's in smoke. It can be deadly. It's odorless, so you can't smell it. It can cause some major issues. A lot of people can start to feel dizzy, nauseous, get a headache. You start to feel run down. You want to sleep, kind of like you're getting the flu. When in reality, it could be carbon monoxide poisoning. A few deep breaths of outside air could start to clear that. When you get into like carbon monoxide poisoning levels, you can start losing track of time. You can start blacking out, fainting, and there's lots of things that could lead to that. Generally, if you get to that point, you lay down because you don't feel good. It's an unfortunate circumstance, but you might not wake up just because the CO levels are too high. In those instances, when you're starting to feel ill, you notice that it's only when you're inside your house, opening up the windows, calling the fire department for us to come and monitor your home and try and find where that leak is. We've seen them in stoves, water heaters, furnaces, from a chimney being blocked and it's slowly pushing smoke back into a house.
Oh, sure.
Could be a little bit of everything realistically. The biggest thing would be make sure you have carbon monoxide detectors in your home. They're just like a smoke alarm. It's there just to read for carbon monoxide. You can buy them online, Home Depot, Menards, most places like that. Those that are in the stores are listed tested devices, so they'll be working. Some of them require a 9-volt backup, some of them plug directly in and they don't need any backup power. So when it gets to those points, the big thing is just make sure that it's installed per manufacturer specifications. So install it where the manufacturer says. Some say they want them plugged in like a kitchen or a utility room. Others say you should have them lower on the wall. The biggest thing is carbon monoxide is about the same weight as the air.
Oh, sure.
So it mixes very readily. I always liken it to food coloring. When you put a few drops of food coloring in water, it just slowly disperses, and then when you mix it with your finger or utensil, it turns to whatever color you're using.
Sure.
Carbon monoxide is much like that, where as it gets pushed into your air, it's just ambient mixing with the airflow of your home, or as you walk around your house, it's mixing.
Sure, and you can't smell it.
Exactly.
Other than this detector, there's no way to know.
Correct. You can't taste it, you can't smell it. It's very different than that pungent smell that you get with like that rotten eggs you get from natural gas, because they introduce that into it.
Sure.
You can't introduce that smell into carbon monoxide because that carbon monoxide, again, is a byproduct from those fuels burning.
Right.
So you really can't make it smell bad by any means. So the big thing to remember is if you have one of the carbon monoxide alarms, because you have these types of appliances, pay attention. If it's going off, step outside.
Yeah.
And then you can call the fire department. If it's going off and you're not sure why, and we show up and we monitor your house and we find that there's no CO, well, then it might be time to update your carbon monoxide alarm.
Sure.
If we find levels of CO, we'll try and figure out where it comes from. Whether it's a leak in a line, or there's like a clog in your exhaust or something like that, we'll go from there. The other big thing that we've run into would be attached garages.
Oh, sure.
People like to start their vehicles when it's negative out. I totally agree with that. The big thing to remember is your garage, if it is attached to your house, those doors aren't always airtight, so you can have exhaust leaking into your home.
Sure.
Which then starts to lead to more chemicals and things being in your house, carbon monoxide, such like that. Exhaust you can smell, but it is a good production of carbon monoxide. So if you're going to start your vehicle in the wintertime, you either want to back it out of your garage fully, close your garage, or make sure that it's in a well-ventilated space, realistically. The other big thing that you don't see much, or I haven't seen much around here, but it does happen, is the vents for dryers and such during snowstorms. And as they get clogged up, if you have a gas dryer, it can definitely, as it starts trying to exhaust and it's clogged up with lint, snow, ice, anything like that, the exhaust has nowhere to go, so it seeps back into your house, and that could cause more problems.
Sure.
Same thing with like your water heaters, with gas water heaters or propane water heaters. Make sure you are ventilating properly up and out the way it's supposed to. Because if it's not drawing that exhaust up and out like it's supposed to, that's just going to come right back in, and it's going to sit ambient with your air.
Sure.
And then you have more carbon monoxide.
Okay. All right. And anything else people need to keep an eye out for? Obviously, fuel sources, vehicles. Any other sources people should be aware of?
Like we talked about, you've got your fireplaces and such, so just make sure that your chimneys are unclogged. And outside of that, that's pretty much anything that can burn some type of fuel, whether it be gas or solid fuel. Those are your carbon monoxide producing devices. So if we missed any today, I would say just kind of keep an eye out. If you don't have a detector, it's always good to have one on each level and outside of your sleeping areas, so in a hallway. So that way you get notified right off the bat if there's anything in there. Putting one near your utility room isn't a bad idea. It's not necessary, but it's something you can definitely do.
Okay.
So that would definitely help people get forward with, or move forward with making sure they're the safest possible, or they have the earliest detection to notify them of when they need to get out.
All right. And is there anything else you'd like to share for February?
No, but I think that's about it. We're going into the cold months, and this is where we really want to start talking about making sure your smoke detectors are right, carbon monoxide detectors are set and all right, and then really moving into safety as of next month for these cold months.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.